Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pixel Classroom podcast here on this beautiful Saturday of recording of this here. I am currently on spring break, so I thought it'd be a good little time too. And those who think, of course, I am, of course, Ryan Reed, of course, the host and of the Pixel Classroom podcast. You can go ahead and follow me on my social medias there at Ryan7Reed. You also can listen to us on the other networks as well, too, including the Teach Better network here. So I have decided to come on in here with episode 176, which is a book review. I haven't done a book review in quite a few times, so I decided I would go ahead and do a book review. So the books I am going to review today are two ones actually from some of my favorite educators I've been following for a while here. The very first one is going to be 50 Ways to Engage Students with Google Apps by Alice Keeler and Heather Lyon. And then I'm also going to review Amplifying Our Practices, Teachers Talking Teachers by, of course, Pawan and Cheney, of course, of the former Staff Room podcast, also known as the Cheney and Pawan show. So I'm going to go ahead and review these two here for one thing. These are very good books. And even though, people here again, as we know, school year is winding down to an area here. I'm currently on spring break. And of course, we're getting ready to wrap up the school year here in a little over about 2 months here if I had a growth thing for the audio version. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about 50 Ways to Engage Students with Google Apps here by Alice Keeler and, of course, Heather Lyon. And, of course, my favorite Norn whale, which is, you might notice, is on the cover here, which is really cool because it's talking about saying, because, as it says right here on page 3 of the book, for engagement is not a unicorn, it's a narwhal. Basically, it's actively and passively refusing to do an expected and sort of thing. Doing the minimum thing is, of course, what it is not, and so forth. So, of course, they're talking about what is the student thing about going from, of course, non-compliant to absorbed and fully engaged. As they say, it's not a unicorn, it's a Norn whale, which is pretty good to hear. And, of course, if I've said that absolutely completely wrong, Alice, Heather, you're allowed to come yell at me on social media on a private message, and I will go ahead and retract that comment. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. I was reading directly from the book and didn't have my notes correctly there too. But going into that right here, and we'll just go ahead and stop there too. But right here, as you can see, and those in the video will see, I have my tabs because, I have my tabs. Green means ready to go. I could start these tomorrow. Purple means like, hey, I could integrate that in my lesson pretty well. And of course, the blue means I could do my curriculum really set up right here. But there's a lot of great lessons on here, and they're talking about that thing. I love about showing the different progress reports here they have to use in a spreadsheet, because as we know, Alice and Heather love their spreadsheets, and I've become a spreadsheet lover in my education career for last 15 years. But I really like how they talk about this from the different hyperlinks and the different templates they give in the book here, and it's really good. This works great from lower level to higher level to even college level. I actually had some friends of mine whose children who are now college level have been using more hyper slides and docs in Google and here for engagement. A lot of people that use Google Keep, which of course is a note keeping piece in here. I always teach my students how to use the Google Keep and Google Tasks when we learn Gmail in my digital literacy classes. So it's really amazing to do it. But there's just a lot of things. I've been following and using a lot of Heather's and especially Alice's work here for the last decade. And it's amazing here what they do. And they do some great pieces here, such as, especially my favorite, which is earning badges. As they say here, earning badges is where the options identify skills that you have mastered, which is really great. I have my students earn badges in my digital literacy classes and some of my other more advanced higher level multimedia classes. It's a really good here. And this is a great way. If you're looking to update your lessons or just don't know where to start, and you've gone to a Google school or started using more Chromebooks or one-to-ones, 50 Ways to Engage is hugely great book here. In my show notes, I'll have the link there to the ordering the website there if you want to on their main websites, or of course off Amazon or Barnes Noble or Books A Million, wherever your favorite one is. So great job, ladies. Fantastic. definitely enjoyed it from beginning to end. It really thing. I even uploaded 3 of my lessons from the spreadsheets and some things with the badges because of this book. So it works for somebody here, high school level for me who has done that. So on that note, I'm going to move on to my next one, of course, by my buddies Pav and of course Cheney, my favorite Canadian educators out there. Of course, amplifying our practice. Now, this one actually, I knew it was coming out. And I was really excited to do it. And as you can notice, if I'm using the web address here for my screen share on the video version here of the Pixel Podcast here, you can definitely tell I'm using the Canadian pieces because they're in Canada here, and believe it or not, I'll be having hopefully a trip to Canada in the near future here. I'd love to see the two of these. I don't know if I'm going to be that far north, unfortunately, but I really like this because they really talked about the different conversations of the different educators. Some people don't know this. A lot of these are actually these are a gatherization of teachers and educators they've talked about both on their podcast and have talked to an application. And I really like because they go from everything. They go from inclusion, SEL, they go in the culture of reading and so forth. And I really like how it's structured in the book hugely. And I have my tabs, as you can see, as always here too. But I really like how they structure this ways about how they could do it because they basically, talk about the up and thing, how it accesses student voice to, of course, my favorite, each chapter ends with the final bell, basically that wrap up about how you inclusion, summary of each one. And some of these interviews are really, really good. And if I go to my one here, which I have in my nice little purple tab here, is when they are talking. There it is. When they were really talking about culture being relevant and responsive to pedagogy, which basically, and this is on page 53 for chapter 3, where they talk about exploring the learning culture relevant and responsive pedagogy and how to include this pedagogy in our classroom spaces. And I really, really like this. I talked to Dwayne Brown on this, talking about from the University of Toronto, and he really did a great breakdown about this, about the questions, about students in all spaces, young and old, as well as different classrooms. And it really worked really well for me. I mean, as somebody who has really had, has been, hit on various classrooms, my previous district, I really had the space. I mean, seriously, the space and really expanded versus my current district. I really was limited by the space and really had to. And I really like a lot of Dwayne's pieces here on working with those different areas. And I think he did a fantastic job about trying to think and how the application works here, as well as the different class climate, how the student voice works. So the Dwayne Brown one is probably my favorite out of all the chapters. I mean, each one has really good, but chapter 3 really hit me. And I think Chey and Pab did a fantastic job of the interview. And I really hope I get Dwayne on an episode of my podcast here. I've had Chey and Pab on my podcast a couple years ago. I really loved it. It's one of my high-end episodes out there if you want to look in my various libraries for that. But I really liked both of these books. They were really good. I had been a little off on my reading for a little bit here, so I really kind of spent a little time getting these both read over the course of this is now recorded on March 23rd. I finished these books end of February. They were both really good books, and they really do, as I say, amplify the practice and work with the pieces on that too. And in my show notes here for the audio recording, you will be able to check out their websites as well as their podcasts as well too. Alice, Heather, Chey, Pav, fantastic books. Highly recommend for educators who are thinking of a book to read over here or getting ready for those summer reads or even a book study. They really hit things that are very relevant in the classroom, both currently now, whether it's younger or higher level, even college level. And they really have one things, and I've definitely been using them as soon as I got out of the classroom. So I don't have really much else to say for this episode. My book reports tend to be a little short for my reviews, but they both get 5 stars for me. If you're thinking about checking them out, please do. Those who joined me for reviewing today, I saw you in the live stream. Thank you for actually, I think it was a record. I had 5 people viewing here for the book reviews, and they know I'm wrapping this all up. So, but thank you for those 5 who were staying on me on the live feed here. Everybody else, I hope you enjoy this, and I will talk to everyone later. Have a good weekend, everybody.